Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fire Red Lights. My name's Aaron and today I'm going to analyse the incident between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton and explain to you why I think the stewards had all the evidence they needed to award maybe a penalty, but definitely to investigate the incident more thoroughly than they did. And I'm going to do it with still screenshots rather than the live footage that they had. So I'm going to show them up big time. Let's dive on into this.
1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it's go!
So here we are then. This is the rundown to turn 4 on the Retro-Aposta, and as you can see, Lewis here is attacking Max Verstappen on the outside. The DRS, the much spoken about DRS, is wide open and giving him a drag reduction. So the first thing I want to point out here, I'm going to get a little bit creative, so you'll have to bear with me on some of the transitions. We'll just make this a bit bigger and we'll use a nice yellow one. So the first thing I want to highlight is the fact that Lewis's front wing is just a smidge ahead as they approach the braking zone. Now this is 100 meters and then we've got 50 meters here. Now Lewis, as you can see, is also on the racing line. Max taking a more defensive line to the inside, attempting to block the corner. We can't actually see the corner itself just yet, so we will move to the next slide to see that. So here we go. As they enter the final stages of the approach and now the braking zone, we can see this is the 50 meter board and they're going for the apex. As you can see, Lewis has started to turn in and Lewis is clearly ahead of Max now. So I want to make them bigger again. His left rear wheel is level with Max's right front wheel, which Max knows exactly. Obviously, Max knows he's there, but he can see him. There's no, oh, I couldn't see him out the side of the car, or he wasn't in the mirrors because the mirrors are rubbish or whatever. So Lewis clearly ahead, and for now, at the moment, it looks like he is going to take control of this corner. But of course, Max Verstappen has some other ideas. We'll move on to the next one, and as you can see here, Max has drawn level and in fact maybe even a touch ahead. He's on a slightly narrower line. Lewis allowing him that space. Max has rolled it in deep. He's going full send on this. And you can see that Max is going for the apex. But you know, you'd expect him to take this line through here, maybe collect the apex a little bit further down here. Lewis again leaving that space. Let's move on to what I believe is the crucial image. And it all centers for me around the attitude of the cars and almost like their orientation around the corner. So let's jump on in here, do some drawing. Use a nice light blue line for Lewis. So you can see his front tyres are angled to go around the corner. So that's point number 1. Max's, there you go. I mean, ignore the squiggly bit here. Oh, it's gone completely. Max's front tyres at a much straighter angle. He's clearly opened the steering as well. It's fairly obvious that he has. You don't need to be able to see the steering. The steering wheel to be able to recognise that. There was no puff of smoke. We'd have seen that on the offboard and gone, oh yeah, okay, yeah, he locked up and that's why he ran wide. But even with a lockup, I don't think we'd have had this same incident because Max would have then had to fight to keep it on the track and not collide with Lewis, which would have meant he would have steered much more to the left, taken a much tighter line, and Lewis may have still run wide, but they definitely wouldn't have both gone quite as far off the track. We'll just delete those and we'll move on. So the attitude of the car is so important, and now as you can see here, I know that the shot is blurred a little bit, but you can see how close they are, and also where you think, like, look at the change of Hamilton's car in attitude. Max's has got a very similar one to the last image. Lewis is now much straighter. He's had to compensate for Max forcing him wide. Now, what I think should be happening at this point. Max should be on a trajectory. Okay, he's missed the apex to start with because he's making a defensive move. By all means, drive that line. Drive that line. At the moment, he's driving this line. And there you can see there is a significant difference because Lewis is looking to drive that line there. Sort of across the two bits of asphalt, the new bit on the inside and the old bit on the outside, because it leaves Max plenty of space on the inside to take the apex at a tight angle. Compromise. He's trying to compromise Max into taking a tight line, and then Lewis can outdrag him up to the right-hander at the top of the hill. But actually, Lewis is now facing a trajectory that comes somewhere out here, and again, you can see it's a dramatic shift in how Lewis probably wants to approach the corner. So where does that leave them? Well, it leaves them heading towards the outside of the corner. And in this picture, actually, you can think, well, they're going to make the corner. But this here is still the crux of the corner. It's a long left-hander. So knowing the layout as we do, we can see that Max is probably headed off the track, or at least to the very extremities of track limits, which then takes them both off the track, well out onto the Pirelli paint. Both cars lucky actually to keep going because it's quite easy to lose control on that bit of a runoff area because it's so dirty and dusty, and the speed they're carrying. It's just if they've gone out there on a practice lap or a qualifying lap, they've made a mistake and they know that they're slowing down. Here, both of them are keeping their foot in it because they're trying to make the overtake. So, Max has forced a driver off track. He's going off track himself. If Max had gone wider and Lewis had kept it tighter and then taken the place, would he have picked up a penalty for taking a place off the track? Because essentially he would have. For me, this constitutes at least an investigation. Let me know in the comments if you think it should have been a penalty or not, of course, because it could have just been an investigation and then no further action, which I think people would have maybe not accepted but understood. At least they had a look. Noting it and then going, no, we don't need to do anything about it, just leaves it completely open to everyone. This is the situation we're in. And if you hark back to Austria, where drivers were being forced to, I don't know, there was gravel there, but if you think about it, you had Lando Norris and Sergio Perez forcing cars to kind of this area. That probably wasn't the right colour to use, was it? That area of the track. They were picking up 5-second penalties because this yellow bit of Pirelli was actually gravel. So for Lewis and Max to end up, let's change the colour, let's go with a nice purple, to end up somewhere out here. Okay, that's going to cut itself off. Yeah, somewhere out there on that purple line. It's just a bit ridiculous, isn't it? To allow that to go unpunished, or at least uninvestigated. We don't want drivers being crowded off the track. Really, they need to put in a hard and fast rule that defines what crowding of another car off the track is. I would suggest, because they don't, even for track limits, they don't use the white line. Maybe like the track limits, they say where the curbing is. If you force another car to go all four wheels past the edge of the curbing at certain corners, or the white line in certain other places, that will be considered crowding and will be dealt with in this fashion. Not hard. It just takes a little bit of effort. Come on, FIA, you can put that effort in and make sure everything is dealt with appropriately, because this is a rabbit hole that could end up with someone getting very badly hurt if it goes wrong. Both of those cars could have lost control at high speed on a dirty, less grippy section of the track. And bear in mind, in 2022, we're going to have cars with less downforce and less grip. If this happens, what on earth is happening next? That'll do for today. Let me know if you agreed with my analysis or not, and whether you think there should have been an investigation or a penalty applied. I look forward to your comments. My name's Aaron. This has been the 5 Red Lights, and when the 5 Red Lights go out, I will see you next time. Until then, it's bye for now.